In focus tonight, new Daca applicants. On Monday, U.S. Citizenship and Immigrant Services announced that they would be accepting new applications after a federal judge in New York ordered the Trump administration Friday to restore the Daca program. A Daca recipient or dreamer is a young undocumented immigrant brought to the U.S. by their parents in circumstances beyond their control. In 2012, former President Barack Obama issued an executive order to create the Deferred Action on Childhood Arrivals program, or DACA, to shield them from deportation. In 2017, President Trump ordered an end to the program, which left the future of 800,000 dreamers uncertain. In August of this year, the Trump administration made an announcement that new DACA applications would be rejected. Here's a report from 4 months ago on a local Heber teen who was impacted by this decision. Marisol Cuevas came to the U.S. with her parents when she was just 3 years old. She says Heber City is the only place her family calls home.
They wanted a better life for us, for me and my older siblings, and also my younger one.
Cuevas saw opportunities open up for her family when her 2 older siblings became recipients of the DACA program. But her chance never came, as she was too young to apply before President Trump shut down the program in 2017.
It was really hard to hear that because everything that I was working for, I was working really hard, and I just felt really down. Like everything just came crashing down once I heard that.
Last Tuesday, the Trump administration announced it would reject new DACA applications as it decides whether to move forward with the plan to end the program. Immigration attorneys say the undocumented community has been living in limbo for the past 3 years.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions for them. These are kids that are here and are contributing to our economy. These are our future researchers.
For Cuevas, the administration's decision means she will not be able to work a part-time job to pay for her upcoming college education at Utah Valley University. But with the help and support of her family, friends, and community, she remains hopeful that one day she'll no longer have to fear for her future.
They always try to motivate me and tell me oh, there's always a chance, that they will bring it back. Sorry.
Coming up, we catch up with Marisol Cuevas 4 months after that initial report. Hear her reaction now that she can apply to become a DACA recipient and what this means for her future. Welcome to tonight's In Focus discussion. On Friday, a federal judge in New York ordered the Trump administration to restore the DACA program. On Monday, the Department of Homeland Security announced they would now be accepting new DACA applications. Joining us live in studio tonight is the young lady you saw at the beginning of our In Focus segment, Marisol Cuevas, a graduate from Wasatch High School. Welcome, Marisol, and thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me, Rosie.
Now, Marisol, the last time we talked to you in August, it was an emotional time for you. But how did you feel when you heard that U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services will now be accepting new DACA applications?
I was very excited to hear that. Just knowing that I will be able to apply now, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that I will get accepted and just be able to find a part-time job to pay for my college.
Yeah, I can't believe that last conversation we had with you was 4 months ago, and now it's just like a complete 180. In that conversation that I had with you, you said that you saw your older siblings become dreamers. But when you became of age to apply, the program was shut down in 2017. What has the past 3 years been like for you mentally and emotionally?
It's just been hard seeing my siblings just pursue their dreams. My sister is a first grade teacher, and my brother is starting his own construction company. It was just hard trying to keep my hopes up with just seeing that DACA was being removed.
Now, we touched on this a little bit in the report that we did with you 4 months ago, but help our viewers understand why having DACA status would be so life-changing for you. What new opportunities would be available if you become a dreamer?
I would be able to, with DACA, I would be able to find a stable job to help me pay for my college. And unfortunately, I was not able to go to college this semester because I wasn't financially stable.
And that's the thing, what some people don't know is that you need DACA status to officially work, right?
Yes.
And so just to clarify on that, is that one of the reasons why maybe you weren't able to start your first semester at UVU like you wanted to, was because you didn't have DACA status and that kind of hindered your ability to go to school?
Yes, just my parents weren't going to be able to pay all themselves. I wanted to help them, and by that I need a job, which I need DACA.
Now, what do you want our viewers to know about DACA and the immigrant community, or what would you say to our country's leaders if you could speak to them?
I've been here since I was 3. This is the only place I know. I just want to give back to my community, and like other fellow DACA recipients have, we just need to find a permanent solution for this.
Now, we know that your goal, right, is to start college at Utah Valley University whenever that opportunity might be possible. So what's next for you? I want to know what your goals are for the future, or what the next 5 to 10 years might look like for you.
I've been thinking about going into fashion or skincare. I don't know what I'm going to do just yet. I've been looking into that.
Do you have any idea what the process is going to look like for you from here? Like, what's the plan? Have you submitted your application? I know it's really new. Or when do you plan to kind of get the process started?
Well, right now we're gathering all the documents and everything just so we can start applying. And I've been doing that. So I just need to get all my papers and we will start the process.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe you have 3 older siblings that have kind of gone through the process before. So are they going to be helping you through this?
Yes, 2 older siblings. Yes, my sister, she is helping me a lot.
Does it kind of alleviate some of the stress and anxiety
yes,
that you have
a lot.
someone that's like, I've been here, I'll help you, you're going to be fine?
Yes, a lot. It's just they've been helping me so much.
All right. Well, you've been hearing from Marisol Cuevas, graduate from Wasatch High School and our future DACA applicant. Marisol, thank you so much for being here tonight, and we wish you the very best.
Thank you so much for having me, Rosie.
Lots of emotions and lots of uncertainty too, right? I think people are kind of, trying to feel it out, what's going to happen next, like, what the discussions in the courthouse were, like what can we expect from the hearing.
That was Alonzo Reyna Rivarola, former program manager for the Dream Center at the University of Utah, speaking to ABC4 News back in November 2019 on the day the U.S. Supreme Court heard arguments about the future of the DACA program. Thanks for staying with us for our second In Focus discussion tonight on new DACA applicants. Joining us live via Zoom now is Xris Macias, director of the Dream Center at the University of Utah. Xris, it's good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Rosie.
Xris, tell us about the University of Utah Dream Center. What services do you provide, and what is your objective or mission?
Yeah, the University of Utah Dream Center is here primarily to help undocumented students, dreamers, or students of mixed status to navigate higher education or to access higher education. So we do outreach as well to those prior to attending the university. A lot of what we do is help them find resources such as scholarships, financial assistance, and also provide them connections to other resources on and off campus, and include counseling, include legal advice, and include everything related to them having their education completed at the University of Utah and in other universities as well.
Now, that support can be so crucial because this process can be so scary to navigate by yourself. I want to know a little bit more about you. What made you want to work and serve our DACA community?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, one of the things that we do is access to education. And for me, my entire professional life has been around who has access to college and who does not. And so I'm always finding ways to find those barriers that are there, find ways around them, and find ways so that everybody that does have the right to education can actually access it. And right now, undocumented students under certain Utah policies do have the right to education. And I want to make sure that everybody's aware of that, and I want to make sure they take advantage of that.
Now, in 2017, the Trump administration announced it would end the DACA program. What kind of response did you see come from DACA students that you guys now serve, and did it increase the needs for your services?
Absolutely. When that was first mentioned, many students were unsure if they should even continue going back to school or unsure if they should apply anywhere else. And so to me, that hit home because a lot of what these students want to do is use education as a path towards their own betterment and a path towards their own residency or citizenship. Even though DACA does not legally provide that path at the moment, they are still using education as a step towards it. And so when DACA was rescinded originally and they could not find jobs or they did not have relief from deportation, they were unsure if they should even continue school or start this new project or this new career of being students because their future was uncertain.
I just can't imagine like going through that. Now, there are misconceptions about Dreamers and the immigrant community. More than likely, everyone knows or has interacted with someone who is a DACA recipient but didn't know it. What are some misconceptions that you would clear up?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of people think that the DACA program is a handout to a lot of people who are in this country and who may have made a choice to be here, when the fact is that a lot of the people who are eligible for DACA were brought here as young children, under the age of 16, at least according to the Obama administration regulations when they first implemented it, meaning that this is the only home they know, meaning that they have not committed any sort of crimes, and meaning that these people are eligible, constitutionally speaking and legally speaking, to receive benefits as well.
Now, could you help explain what the qualifications are to become a DACA recipient? I mean, the qualifications are actually pretty strict. Not anybody can just apply and receive DACA status.
That's correct, Rosie. So as I mentioned, we focus more on the student experience. I do want to disclose that I am not an attorney, but I am aware with the qualifications for the program, which include that people be under 31 years of age as of 2012, that they came to the U.S. before they turned 16, that they've been in this for a number of years, I believe it's 2007 to the present day, that they are currently in school or will attend school, have some sort of diploma, will attend high school, GED, et cetera, or even have served in the armed forces. And of course, they have to not have be convicted of any felony offense or any sort of misdemeanor crimes to be eligible. So again, there's a lot of misconceptions on who these folks might be, but in reality, they are our children or were children at one point that were eligible and have been, for all intents and purposes, following the law and following protocol to remain in this country.
Yeah, and they become contributing members of society. Now, with this announcement that new DACA applications will be accepted, what does this mean for the Dream Center? Are you being inundated with requests and inquiries?
Well, at the moment, I'm getting a lot of messages of celebration. People are hopeful. People are looking forward to being able to continue their education, or those who were not able to continue, such as your last guest, can now do so. And so what this means for a lot of them is that they can remain in this country, can remain for some time with some certainty. Therefore, they can take on this new role of 4 or more years of education, right? And so now they can see that their goals of continuing to help their family, in many cases being the head of household, or in other cases being the one that the family relies on for other reasons, can now be completed. So DACA being reinstated is very good news. It's going to keep us very busy, but that's why we're here. We are definitely here to help students navigate the college experience, and having DACA is just one more step that allows us to make it easy for them to do so.
Yeah, a lot of happy tears is what I'm seeing. All right, Chris, we have about 30 seconds left. Final words, anything else that you would like people at home to know?
Once again, I just want to reiterate that we are happy that the courts and the federal judges are on our side, if you will, that they understand that the DACA program was implemented constitutionally and legally and therefore should remain. And at the same time, we also want the DACA program to expand into something more so that someday there will be a legal means towards residency or citizenship.
All right, you've been hearing from Xris Macias, Director of the Dream Center at the University of Utah. Chris, thank you so much for all of your work and taking time out to speak with us tonight. It's good to see you.
Likewise, thank you so much, Rosie.
Welcome to our third and final In Focus discussion tonight on new DACA applicants. Joining us live via Zoom now is Valentina De Fex, Immigrants Rights Legal Fellow for the ACLU of Utah. Valentina, thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having us today.
Now, Valentina, could you help us understand what the reasoning of the Obama administration was in creating the DACA program back in 2012?
Sure. So one of the before Obama, there had been a lot of lobbying in grassroots organizations that had been advocating Congress to pass a permanent DREAM Act. And so after a lot of partisanship, fights, and inability for Congress to pass immigration reform, President Obama, via executive order, created DACA, a program that both granted a temporary reprieve from deportation for individuals that qualified and were approved, as well as granted those individuals work authorization, which would permit them to obtain a social security number and work during the periods that they were authorized and protected by DACA status.
Yeah, really, it's just these dreamers are people who came to this country in circumstances that were beyond their control and really only know the U.S. as their home. So it would make sense to, why not give them a chance, right? If they're going to be contributing members of society. Now, 3 years ago, the Trump administration announced that it would end the DACA program. And while that left the future of thousands of dreamers uncertain, right? So what kind of impact did this have on the immigrant community?
So it was a huge blow to the immigrant community. The dreamers were, while only a small segment of the total undocumented community, it was hundreds of thousands of individuals that had come forward. They were members of our community. They were in the workforce. They were family members. They were the individuals that we now call essential workers. And for them to have that trust taken away from them was a huge punch in the gut for many of them. It was also a very terrifying moment for their family members and their loved ones, many of which were undocumented, that relied on these individuals who were primary breadwinners, to realize how the individuals that they came to rely upon for survival were now at risk of deportation.
Right, and just the thought of your family possibly being separated, you know, a family member that might not have that protection like everyone else. It's just, I can't imagine the feeling. Now, immigrant youth and the movement did fight back. Could you explain the legal battles that came in between then and now?
Sure. So there have been many legal battles. There are multiple cases going on throughout the country. And so many of these cases went up to the courts. The cases originated fighting the way that the Trump administration ended the program. And so the Supreme Court made a decision earlier this year finding that the Trump administration did not follow the Administrative Procedures Act, the APA, which governs the way that administrative agencies such as the Department of Homeland Security and ICE operate. And so after that, there was a period of waiting to find out what the Supreme Court's ruling meant. If it meant that the individuals that already had DACA could continue applying and renewing their work permits and authorization, and also if it meant that individuals that were now eligible that weren't able to apply the first time around could finally start submitting applications.
Now, this entire process can get murky and hard to understand for some people because of all the back and forth. So are dreamers and new applicants in the clear now with this new decision that came Friday, or is it possible that there could be some reversal or appeal on this decision?
So I think, as we've seen, the legal battles with DACA and the policy battles as well have given a lot of whiplash to the community, especially the documented individuals whose lives continue to be put in flux. The recent decision was based on the fact that Chad Wolf, the acting secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, was found to not have been lawfully appointed. This is one aspect of this decision, and it was a decision from a district court. At the same time, there is another case out of Utah, which is actually the opposite of many of these DACA cases, where the state of the state of Texas has sued to end the program, arguing that it was not lawfully instated. And so while that ruling is still waiting to be made, or we're still waiting on a judge to rule on this, we are hoping that the administration ends its program, or its efforts to end this program.
Now, how long can it take for someone to receive DACA status after they apply? And do you anticipate that there's going to be a rush of new applications coming into USCIS?
So we anticipate that a lot of individuals are going to want to apply. The actual timeline for processing these applications could take a while. Individuals have to undergo background checks, biometrics. It's not a quick process. And as we have seen through USCIS, there are backlogs on a lot of applications. However, one thing that does give us hope at this time is that the court out of New York has asked the government to provide a status report in January to show how many applications it has received, how many applications it has made decisions on, how many individuals have been approved, and how many individuals have been rejected. Now, and so it could take a while, but we're going to be keeping an eye out on this.
I feel like this is kind of a reminder of the larger issue at hand here with the difficult pathway to citizenship. What do you think about that?
I think, as we've seen with the individuals that have DACA, there is a large segment of our population, of our communities, that are vulnerable right now. And while DACA has provided opportunities for many individuals, it is only a temporary solution. And it is time for Congress to act and take permanent steps to create opportunities, a legal pathway for citizenship, not just for those that have DACA, but for the individuals that are undocumented. There are 11 million individuals in this country, and it's time for Congress to take action.
President-elect Joe Biden will begin his new term in January, and he committed to introducing an immigration bill on day one to pursue permanent relief for immigrant communities. What do you hope to see come out of this?
We hope to see a permanent pathway to citizenship, not just for individuals with DACA, but for the larger undocumented community. There's still the futures of individuals with TPS, as well as other individuals that have yet to qualify for forms of immigration relief. As a part of this, we also hope that this bill doesn't sacrifice one group of immigrants in favor of another, and it doesn't vilify a specific group of immigrants so that another group of immigrants are able to obtain immigration status.
All right, you've been hearing from Valentina De Fex, Immigrants Rights Legal Fellow for the ACLU of Utah. Valentina, thank you so much for joining us tonight to share your thoughts and help us understand more about this topic.
Thank you for having us.